Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Counsel? Yes, sir.
I have a question. Mr. Dotson?
Yes, sir.
It seems like you don't think you need a city business license. Do you feel like you need to pay city taxes or CABC taxes? Or seems like kind of a renegade operation there. I mean, you get licensed somewhere else and you can just go anywhere in the state and operate? Is that...
Well, did you read the state law statute?
Yeah.
Which says, and I don't want to argue with you, it just simply says if I got a license, and I do have, I think it should be in your packet, and this is not me saying this is the state law that we all got to abide from. You, me, whoever. It says if you got a business license in another city, you can come to another city and do business in that sound without getting a business license. Now, for the record, you accused me of being a renegade. I tried 3 times to buy a city business license in your city clerk's office, and 3 times I got turned down. So I think the mayor was there that day that I asked for a business license, and I was told no. So, and I don't want to argue with you.
I'm not saying anything personally against you. I'm just thinking maybe we need to look into this. If people can get licensed anywhere else in the state and just come in here and go to business.
That's the state law. The legislators.
Like a limousine service.
Like a limousine service.
Mr. Vivian.
Well, since you brought up Tom Tharp and the business he has, and that's great that Tom's busy all the time.
It's great.
I can tell you that the reason we regulate carriages is due to the nature of the beast, and that is that the beast doesn't move very fast, and it's a hindrance to the flow of traffic, which is why we kept it at 3 franchises. Okay, so business is great. We could have had 20, 25, 30 franchises. And what would the town be like if everybody's moving at 8 miles an hour? That's the reason. And there was a number of people that complained about having 3 franchises. Well, that's too many. There's going to be carriages up and down the street, and we're all going to be tied up behind those carriages. So it was regulated with 3 franchises because of how they impede the flow of traffic in the community. So if you understand that, you'll understand why there were so few franchises granted.
Yes, Mr. Vito. I also remember I came in and I was the first one to apply for the Southern Pride Carriage Company. My application was in first after she decided not to renew her carriage permit. I applied for that permit that she had, and you chose to, and with your vote, and you chose to give that franchise to the existing owner. If we would have been fair about the issue and said, I was here in 2004, and you told me, go back and look at the tape, because I've got it. It says if there's a franchise open up or somebody drops out, you'll be the next in line. And I know this can't bound. I know your vote or can't bind this body, but I did come back and I applied for one of the 3, and you chose to give it to the existing operator. Now, you have to weigh the balances on your vote on that. The reason you did that, that's not left up to me. We're in this position today because I wasn't treated fairly and I didn't get the permit. So this is a state highway out here. And Mr. Wilson of the State Highway Legal Counsel says that they don't regulate anything on business on their state highways. And in his letter, it will tell you that I can operate my carriages on this state highway. Now, I'd love to do it. Every city I work in, the cities go in and set out carriage stops, every one of them. And then every carriage company in that city, I work with 5 different carriage companies in Fort Worth. We all use the same carriage stops. They don't franchise nothing. It's all, everybody uses the same ones. The taxi cab uses the taxi cab ones. The trolley people use the trolleys, and the carriages uses the trolleys. In Fort Worth, traffic is 100 times worse than on this street than Sundance Square. And we all work together, and each company down there has got 5 permits. Some of them's got 7. And unfortunately, Eureka Springs is not flat. There's only certain areas that I feel safe running my operation. And I'm not going to run them up down the hills. I'm not going to do that. I think there was a carriage accident several years ago on that. But my horses is going to move as fast as a motorcycle that's walking along with his feet that's going up through here. And the traffic, yeah, it may slow down, but we'll speed up and keep up with the traffic. If the car's in front of me, my horses is going to keep up with it. That's not going to drive 20 miles an hour, but they don't need to be doing that down through here. And I just feel that the business is here. And as a businessman, I want that opportunity, or I'm going to take that opportunity to capitalize on that. And, you know, you'll make money off of me because people will book my carriage. They'll also book hotel rooms. They'll book, if you want to put your restaurant on my hotel or on my website, and I can book it as a package. I do that with restaurants, hotels in Fort Worth all the time. And that's what we're planning on doing here as a package.
Mr. DeVito.
There is a franchise available. You could sign up for it, and chances are you'd have that franchise.
The franchise, in my opinion, is illegal. The Attorney General says you can't franchise city streets or that state highway. Now, if you want to give me a carriage business license to run on that street out there, I'll be glad to pay you $70 tonight for that license. I'm not trying to mess you up. You got $350 of my money right now you've had since December. And if you want that $350, I pay $250 a year. Take that back. I pay $500 a year in Fayetteville, Arkansas every year for a carriage permit.
My question still is to you that there is an existing franchise available to you today.
Okay.
And rather than taking that franchise, you're taking this other course of action.
As long as I can run on this 23 down through here, I don't have no problem with that. I've already got a place rented. Talked to the guy today. We've made a deal on a piece of property. I've got it rented. All I got to do is pay him tomorrow. If you want to grant me to run on that highway right out there, I'd love to do that.
So this is just a courtesy call on your part.
I'm just here to explain to you or ask you all to look at your ordinance. And if you grant me a franchise, you call it tonight, the next thing I'm going to do is talk to the mayor to redo your ordinance. Because here's where, as a former council member in the city of Springdale, normally knowing something is illegal or you're breaking the state law, if I get a person hurt in my carriages, I feel that's going to jeopardize the city too. If they know they passed something that they shouldn't have. So that's just, y'all should just look at that and make sure that's right anyway.
Let me just nuance this a bit. You're talking about an opinion, and that doesn't necessarily imply that we're illegal in our actions. Unless we go to court over it, and there's a court case that adjudicates what is the
There's
law.
Case law that I gave you in there, Dover versus Russellville. If you look at that opinion's made, and McDaniel just redid it. Our city attorney's website, if you go on Jeff Harper, city attorney's website. He does every attorney general's opinion. He updates them. Just as 2 months ago, he updated McDaniel updated the attorney general's opinion that was done in 2004 for me, word for word. So it's based when these attorney generals, they get there for a reason, and you're going to a seminar because, I mean, he's the legal counsel of the state of Arkansas. He bases his opinion not on what he thinks, but on case law. And he wouldn't have done that if two of them wouldn't have done that if case law wouldn't back his point up. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not an attorney, but I pay a lot of money to him. So, you know, I know that's right, and I'm not trying to beat you guys over the head. I'm just saying I'm going to exercise my options on my business.
Ms. Ballance.
When I was going through this and researching it and going to the Attorney General's website, I was led to one opinion from an Attorney General that stated that it was well within a city's right to regulate traffic on their city streets, even if it was a state highway, if it was in the city limits.
You can't even change a speed limit sign on that road without getting approval from the state.
We can regulate traffic on the city streets even if it's a state highway within the city limits.
Yeah. I hadn't seen that opinion, so
Okay,
I mean, I've checked it.
Before this gets any further, let's just, have you got anything else to say, Mr.?
Not unless someone else has got a question.
Any other
And I did
questions?
call you all, and I appreciate the ones that called me back. Thank you.
I'm here representing the carriage franchise. Carriage
Okay.
franchises.
Well, okay. All right.
I was just wondering if we can get Mr. Weaver
Thank you, sir.
to give us an opinion. I mean, depending on who you talk to, they each have their opinions. It'd be nice to know if we need to change an ordinance or if we need to rewrite something or what our legal direction should be on this.
Gonna make that a motion for
We
Mr.
could probably talk a long time on this.
We could, yeah.
I make a motion to direct Mr. Weaver to give us his opinion on how we should proceed legally with this whole franchise issue.
Made and seconded. Any further discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Weaver? You have a daunting task in front of you.
I'll see if I
Okay.
get that information I mentioned to you.
Ms. Snyder, do you have something to say?
In regards to having a franchise, and I'm sorry, Mr. Dotson, you said you rented or
No, don't talk to him. Talk to council.
Well, he was the one
No.
giving, and that's why I need to
Okay.
ask. If you're going to plan on utilizing a state highway without a franchise, where do you plan on loading, unloading, turning around, and so on and so forth? Because U-turns are illegal. This is a great concern to the carriage franchise. They have definite routes because you can't U-turn, you can't load and unload on the state highway, so you want to know how badly will be blocking the regular franchise.
Ma'am, I don't have to answer yet, but you go ahead and...
Well, I'm representing them. They would like to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's our question, if you
Okay.
guys want to figure it out.
All right. Number 2 is postponed. Number 3 is postponed. Number 4 is postponed. Number 5, discussion of outsourcing finance. Ms. Ballance and Dr. Kirkpatrick. Motion to discuss.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Second.
Made and seconded. Floor is open. Go ahead.
I'm interested in discussing with my colleagues outsourcing finance. We spend right now roughly $130,000 for our finance department. I've been in contact with several CPAs and CPA firms associated with the Arkansas Society of CPAs. And I've come to understand that in this day and age, it's reasonably common for municipalities to outsource their finance departments. Some of the benefits would be we wouldn't have to, if we were outsourcing it and we didn't have that department in-house, we wouldn't have to provide office space, we wouldn't have to provide insurance, we wouldn't have to do paychecks for several different people, we wouldn't have to buy a new, necessarily buy a new finance accounting software. There were several good reasons for maybe outsourcing our finance department. And as I said, in this day and age, it's very common for municipalities to outsource their finance departments. So I'm at least interested in discussing this. And if we move toward that, I would definitely be interested in having some CPAs or CPA firms address us or send bids, put it out to bid, see if we could come in with not spending any more or perhaps even less than what we're spending right now. So toward that end, and instead of taking up a whole bunch of time at this table, I would be interested in setting a date for a workshop so that we could discuss this in a more casual setting. So I will move to set a date for a workshop for discussion of outsourcing finance.
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Berry?
Ms. Ballance mentioned that it was common for municipalities to do that. Do you have a list of municipalities?
I didn't say it was common, but I did say it is not uncommon. I don't have a list at this moment, but I'm sure I could get one.
I thought you said it was common.
I said it was not uncommon.
Which implies common.
Yeah, semantics, so, yeah.
You do not have a list?
Not right now, but I'm sure I could collate one if that's the desire of the table.
I would love to see one, please.
Okay.
To go along with the workshop.
Yeah. Motion made and seconded to do a workshop on outsourcing finance. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, then let's go ahead and discuss it right now.
Slow down just a second. Slow
well,
down. Yeah. Don't get ahead.
That was the discussion, and we voted no, so we're moving on to the next item.
We can't discuss it anymore?
We done voted on it to have a
We
workshop.
voted on that, but we may come up with another motion.
Put it on the
Yeah.
agenda for another
Yeah,
time.
you have to bring it back next time then.
All right.
Okay. All right. Number 6 is out. I'm sorry, postponed. Number 7 is off the agenda. Number 8, cleanup ordinance for Title 6, Animals and Fowls. Mr. Berry and Mr. DeVito. Motion to discuss.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
You asked that there be a cleanup based on what Plain Commissioner Blankenship had brought, I believe. Reviewing the ordinance that you passed most recently as the Fowl ordinance, that contains a repealer clause in it, which should repeal the clauses that are being discussed for removal without the necessity of passing an additional ordinance and spending additional money. What I would like you to do is to pass this until the code service that puts our code together has acted, and if they do not remove it, then to remove those particular passages. But that repealer clause should repeal those alternate wordings that need to be removed, and if they disagree, then we can act. But the language is there to remove those passages already in what is already passed.
Yes, sir.
So in essence, what you're saying is that all the other requirements and regulations regarding other animals is still valid.
Should be the way that the repealer clause would act. It will remove the foul references from those and leave the other language, or should, unless the code service thinks there's a problem. I don't at this point see a necessity of spending time, effort, and money.
I appreciate your
Works for me.
concern. Yeah.
Further discussion?
No further discussion here.
Okay. Anything else on this? Okay. All right, looks like if that one is done, we'll go to agenda setting. Motion to discuss.
So move.
Second.
Floor is open. We postponed a lot of stuff this time. Mr. DeVito.
I would like to entertain discussion of city services, meaning water and sewer, in regard to extending those services beyond the city limits. I would like a discussion of that, if somebody would second that.
I would second it.
Okay.
And I guess can we have the Public Works Director be present?
Sure.
Would it be limited to that?
Right now, my emphasis is on water and sewer. Beyond that, I don't know of any other services, but let's start with water and sewer and have if the mayor would have the Public Works Director in
I will
attendance.
ask the young man. I'm sure he would be more than glad to be here. Anything else?
I'd like to see if Mr. Berry could give us an update. You're involved in the Auditorium Committee.
We have, you want to put that on the next agenda?
I know nothing about it. I'd like an update of some sort.
Second.
Okay. It's on for next time. How many do you have on the committee now?
We had 5. We've basically come to conclusions. We're just trying to now wrap it up with our conclusions.
Okay.
5 or 6, I don't remember.
Ms. Ballance?
I'd like to have a discussion of State Statute 1452-201, and that would be regarding the subordinate police officers that can be hired, the number of subordinate police officers that can be hired according to state statute, which we are out of compliance with right now. Can I get a second on that?
Anything else?
I'd like to add discussion of access to city property, specifically Rock House Cave.
Is that the one we just put the plaque in front of?
I believe so. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
I don't know if this needs to be on the agenda, so I'll just ask. I believe Planning Commission position number 1 expired on July 1st. Do we need to discuss that, or do we just need to add it to the Commission Committee Authority Reports and Vacancies that Planning Commission position 1 has expired?
Who had that position?
Mickey?
Oh, Mickey had it. We'll put it on the next time for discussion.
Do we really need to talk about it? I mean, it's either expired or it isn't.
I don't have my list, apparently.
Okay, well, I looked on the website.
It is?
And
Okay.
it said that it expired July 1st.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to have a discussion of outsourcing the finance department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Made and seconded? Okay. We're loading this thing up pretty good.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Okay. Council comments, Mr. Berry.
The only comment I have is I want to thank members of Gaskin Switch for having their reunion, and in particular, they had their reunion so they could raise money to donate to the parks, and I believe they ended up giving about $1,100
Thanks, so, yes.
to the parks for the kids to be used.
I
So,
think it was Mr. Gorell that handed Bruce the check on
Yep.
in the photo.
and
That
Gary C. Albritton is the one who started this. He was liked the parks very much, and it was his idea and to get it all organized, and had members far away from Connecticut come in for the concert, and it was like old home week for the people who were here in the 70s.
Great.
So it was great fun. I appreciate it, and thank them for their work and dedication, and maybe we can do it again next year.
Mr. DeVito.
No comment?
Raphael.
No comment.
No.
No comment.
Ms. Ballance.
I'd like to thank the folks who put together Antique Car Weekend, and the people who volunteer and the people who show up. It's a wonderful event. I've been going to it for 20 years, and I enjoy it every time. So thank you to the folks in the community who put together this sort of thing, and the folks who volunteer, and the folks who show up. Thank you.
Okay, down to me. All right. First, I'd like to thank or let y'all know that we did get our $2,000 grant from the General Improvement Fund grant. Okay, I got it right. Huh? Okay. All right. Money for our Parks Department kids for the sports program. We did a photo op the other day. It's Mr. Mike Norton from Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District, Bruce Levine, Parks Director, myself, James, and he's going to hurt me because I can't remember his last name right now because I got too much going on, and Mr. McClung. Yeah, James Roselle. He was there also, so it should be in the paper once we get it. Mr. Norton did a write-up on it. We're going to put that in the paper. It's all great. As far as the finance director's position, I'm in a bit of a quandary here. We're starting to get applications, but I'm hesitant about picking one due to the fact that we have these other issues, outsourcing of the finance department, and in some comments have been made to me by the applicants. Is there going to be a job there? And I can't answer them because I don't know. And these people are willing to move from other places to come do this. But I can't give them an answer. And I don't want to give them an answer if there's not going to be a job for them and or the other folks who work out here in the finance department, because that's going to cut a lot of jobs. So I'm not going to do anything until y'all decide on what you're going to do. I don't have a choice. I'm not going to have somebody quit their job and come here and take a job that may not last very long. I don't think it's fair to them or to us. So,
We have to look out for the interests of the city.
yeah.
Indeed.
There again, I have to look after my people too. So, with that being said, I have a list of events to read. September the 15th through the 17th, the 4th annual Scooting in the Ozarks. Everybody's seen the scooters around towns. They love to come here and they like to ride hard and fast. September the 16th through the 18th, citywide sidewalk sale. September the 16th through the 18th, All-American Weekend at Pine Mountain Village. Starts tomorrow. Should be a great event if the weather holds off. September the 23rd through the 25th, the 6th annual Adventure in Art, Eureka Springs Artist Studio Tour. September the 23rd through the 25th, the Jazz Eureka Weekend. September the 24th, Eureka Palooza at Lake Leatherwood. September the 29th through October the 31st is Intrigue Theater at the Auditorium. Early voting for Eureka Springs School Board from September the 13th to the 19th, so we're in the middle of it right now. You can get early vote upstairs in the clerk's office. And September the 20th is the annual school board election. Did we miss anything, Don? Okay. Anything else?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Okay.